I love these. I love the humor in the show.
Yeah, so those glasses in the script I think are called yard longs. And as we were having our launch, we were all like we all called them different things. So some people called them yard glasses, some people I called them whale bones. They may actually be called, you know what, they are called whale bones in the script because somebody's like, so do we draw them like a huge rib? And it was funny to realize that we all thought that might have been a different thing. But yeah, the Jamie wrote a really solid script. And a lot of the verbal jokes are like they're ready and waiting for us when we dive in. But the really fun thing about this show, since it's animated, is the great opportunity for like background and visual comedy. This so one of the big challenges on this episode in particular were the huge scenes of crowds, just so many crowds and so many characters all the time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
board artist Spencer Johnson had most of the crowd scenes in the bar. So you can thank him for a lot of the really funny stuff you're seeing happen as, you know, set dressing to the foreground drama of this show. He had, I want to say his most full shot, he was tracking like the acting of 30 people at once.
Hmm.
It's a
And
huge challenge.
what was impressive
Yeah.
about that, especially, wasn't just the number of people that were in them, but that they were each doing very different things and showing very different emotions. Some were laughing, some were fighting, some were crying, some were making out. And that just felt like
Mhm.
such a deliberate choice to really, kind of flex a little bit and say, look, we don't have to just have, you know, 30 people all laughing or 30 people all
Mhm.
fighting. We can do all these different things. It's probably a lot of work for the storyboard artist you just mentioned,
Yeah.
but it
Spencer.
was
Yeah.
Spencer, but it's very rewarding because it gave us all something to look at and enjoy.
So both like the huge amount that Spencer gave us to begin with, and then going back in to do. I think when you talked with Brandon, he talked about doing like revisions and retakes on different versions. So we did even add more people in on retakes. And my assistant director for this episode, Belle O, she added in Livick and Gary from episode 2 having like a slap fight in the background of one of the scenes because it was, I think it was Miglimo with the replicator that
Mhm.
we had great acting with Miglimo on the replicator. And as we're getting further along and we're, you know, deep into revisions and retakes, we realize there's nobody behind him. It looks like he's alone in this big space. And you know, with the soundscape, we could, you know, say that everyone was just on the other side of the camera, but it was like, you know what? We need to put someone back there. So it was fun to bring back, even though their voice actors weren't returning, a like visual cameo of the two new ensigns we met in our previous episode. I have no bones, yet I must flee.
Wow. Yeah, and the other scene that kind of jumps out at me too, that kind of provided the same kind of sensation of a lot of visuals happening at the same time, was when there were a bunch of characters and they were all in that giant room, kind of half naked, dancing on the floor or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the pyramid.
Yep.
So after we
Yeah.
draw all of this, someone has to go through the entire, our production team has to go through the entire episode, label every background character, label what state they're in of undressed, whether they've got full uniform, half buttoned uniform, you know, underwear. And that has to be tracked and consistent through the whole episode. So if you watch, even as we see crew members on other parts of the ship, you're never going to see somebody repeating on the other side of the ship because our prod team put so much effort into making sure that we maintained continuity throughout. And you mentioned like all the different emotions that we have. That was something we worked really hard because you know what? We've all seen the Naked Now, and we've seen, you
Yeah.
know, we've even seen the Lower Decks version of the Naked Now back in season 3 episode 8, I think. So we couldn't just make it a sex party. We really had to bring up all different kinds of emotions because that's what, spoilers for the episode, Talin is causing to happen on the ship. And there's one shot in particular I love that you really don't catch until your second viewing. When Talin first enters the bar, you'll see as she passes on screen that people don't start to overreact on their emotions until Talin walks by them.
Oh,
And it's
very
subtle
cool.
enough that you may think that it's the Betazoid still tipping it off, but everyone, go watch the episode again and look specifically
Yeah.
for that shot.